Yeah, what I want to present, as you've already mentioned, is Peisistratus' domestic policy and approaches towards Ghana's agro-economic progress and human flourishing. Now, why am I looking at Peisistratus' domestic policy and how should it be connected to Ghana's agro-economic progress? Now, many studies have identified or pointed out that for Ghana's economy to blossom and poverty to reduce in Ghana, there's the need for policymakers to pay attention to the agricultural sector or the agro-business in Ghana. However, there are many support that the World Bank, the IMF, and the African Development Bank, and many institutions and non-governmental agencies have given to Ghana. There's a lot of support. However, all those support do not address two major problems. The first is the problem of access to farmland, and the second is access to financial startup. Now, when you go back to the antiquity, somewhere 8th to 6th century BC Athens, such similar problems were experienced by the peasants. During the time of Draco in somewhere 621 BC, when he was appointed to address the concerns of the masses as an aristocrat himself, his policies geared towards promoting the interests and the flourishing of the aristocrats at the time. However, as we move on to 594 BC, Solon also was appointed as a Zumnites to give some kind of a constitution or law that will satisfy both the aristocrats and the peasants. He did his best. However, the same problem of land and financial constraint persisted. So, in fact, for the poor masses, they believe that Solon Constitution they did not actually redistribute wealth or land. So they were not satisfied until when Peisistratus came to govern or seize power unconstitutionally. But as Aristotle informs us, he did not rule as a tyrant in our contemporary sense, but he ruled as pure a civilian, a person who has a concern for the masses. So what he did was that, now what should I do for the flourishing of life to be achieved? Now what he did was to provide land and give financial startup to these people so that they can be at their quarters in their villages or in their towns by concentrating on what they do best, what they can do best by bringing out the kids. Now, the philosophy behind here, or what we can take from Peisistratus' domestic approach here concerning agribusiness, is that now if the government wants the flourishing of life, if the government wants to pursue development projects, if the government wants to expand its tax base, then there's the need for the government to provide some subsidies to the people. Once the people see that the government is really supporting them fully, they will also become willing to pay tax, a kind of reciprocity. So the state gives to the people, then the people gives back to the state in the form of taxation. So that was very brilliant, something that Solon and Draco before him could not do. But Peisistratus could observe what was happening in the society. looking at the pressing needs of the people and what we needed to do. And in connecting it to economics, economists have something called the multiplier effect. Now, the multiplier effect happens in the way that when a little amount of money from the government is injected into the state, it circulates among and everyone benefits from it. For instance, if the government or if Peisistratus gave financial startup to the farmers, now the farmers will also need seedlings or seeds or the olive tree or something to cultivate. Not only that, they also need farm tools. And if people also want to make oil out of the olive, they will need pot. So that money that Peisistratus gave to the farmers, they will end up buying farm tools, which the blacksmith will also benefit from. So the money will be circulating, trying to satisfy everyone's material welfare or well-being, and that was fantastic idea from Peisistratus. Now, if Ghana really wants to expand its tax base, really want to promote the flourishing of life, and since Ghana's economy in this 21st century is still founded on agriculture, then there's the need for us or for the government to pay attention to agribusiness by gathering ideas from interdisciplinary perspective. This is where the study comes in, because now classes in Ghana mostly focus on the literature aspect, drama and comedy. And so when you look at the literature, we have a lot of scholars in Roman and Greek drama. But when it comes to the issue of economics, exploiting ideas from the antiquity to inform contemporary Ghana is limited or does not exist at all. So the argument I want to put here is that such knowledge in classical scholarship needs to translate from conferences, from scholarly works to policymakers for them to actually see the need to tap into ancient knowledge regarding leadership and economic development, so that the holistic well-being of Ghanaians that policymakers and government want will be achieved. I'll beg to end here, and I hope I've managed to satisfy the time given. Thank you very much for your audience.